Hello and welcome to the ultimate beginner's guide to solving a Rubik's Cube. The first thing I will teach you is how to hold a cube. Pick up the cube with both hands like this. Your thumbs are now touching the front face of the cube and your other fingers are touching the back face. Directly above the front face is the up face. This is the left face, the right face, and the down face. These directions all stem from the front face. So if you rotate the cube, you can change the colors of the faces, but the directions will always be the same. Cubes are actually built from the centerpieces, so all centers are solved and prove what color an entire face should be. Whatever color the centerpiece is, the entire face along with it should be the same color. Notation is how we write down movements for the cube. For this tutorial, we only need to know these basic movements: U, L, F, R, and D. These capital letters represent one clockwise turn as if the direction were facing you. When a capital letter is followed by an apostrophe, it represents one counterclockwise turn as if the direction were facing you. We call the apostrophe prime when reading the notation out loud. So we have D prime, R prime, F prime, L prime, and U prime. We also have double movements, notated by a capital letter followed by the number 2. So we got U2, L2, F2, R2, and D2. Now it doesn't really matter which way you spin it because, it gets the same result either way. See? Now it's time to learn the actual solving technique. Shuffle your cube. The first thing I want you to do is rotate the cube until the yellow centerpiece is your up face. Remember that from Homegrip, you're always touching the front face with your thumbs, so whatever's on top is your up face. Once you have yellow as your up face, we're going to systematically search from the top to the middle to the bottom layer for any edge piece that has white on it. Edge pieces have two colors on them. So we have an edge piece here that has white on it on the top layer. It's blue and white. So luckily it's already connected, but let's say we found the piece over here. What I would want you to do is ignore the white and focus on the blue and memorize that. Then I want you to use horizontal rotations until blue is your front face. Then I want you to use U moves until the edge piece is sitting on top of this center. If these two colors match, then it is oriented. And then if it is oriented, you do F2 to bring it from the top to the bottom. The very first step is to make a white cross on the bottom layer. And then we're going to search again. Here we got another one on the top. So we have white and orange. Let's ignore white, find orange. Now we're going to use U moves to set it on top. This time, orange is not connected to orange. So this is misoriented. When it is misoriented, you're going to sit it on top of the center like usual, but this time, instead of doing F2, which wouldn't solve it, you're going to do U prime, R prime, F, R. See, and that solves it. Now we have another one on the top, but I want to show you what happens if we have one on the middle layer. So if it's in the middle layer like this, we can either hold it so that it's like this or like this. So long as it is either on the left or the right of your front face sticker, there's two things you could do. If it's on the left side, you could do L prime, U prime, L to move it from the middle to the top, and then you could follow the rules for the top. If you find a white edge piece on the bottom that is incorrect, bring it from the bottom to the top layer by positioning it under the centerpiece of your front face and doing F2. Now it is on the top layer and you can follow the rules for the top. Once you have finished your white cross on the bottom layer of the cube and all the centers are connected to the other color of the edge piece, it's time to solve the rest of the bottom layer by inserting any corner piece that has white on it into the bottom. So what we're going to do is search for corners that are either on the top layer or on the bottom layer, and they have to have white on it. So we have one here. It contains red and green as the other colors. So ignore the white and just focus on red and green. Now horizontally rotate the cube until you find red and green and have them be on your front face and your right face. Then I want you to use U moves to set the corner to be on the top right of your front face. And then I want you to do this algorithm up to 3 times maximum to bring this white sticker to the bottom here, which solves the piece. It goes R, U, R prime, U prime. And then if a white corner is in the bottom and it's incorrect, you need to bring it from the bottom to the top layer. Have it positioned so it's on the bottom right of your front face, and then do R, U, R prime, U prime to bring it to the top layer. Then you can follow the rules for the top layer. We got red and blue, ignoring white. Rotate till we see red and blue as our front and right face. Use U moves to position it to the spot, which is the top right of the front face sticker. And then R, U, R prime, U prime. And then we keep looking for corners that have white on them. We see blue and orange. Here's orange and here's blue. Use U moves to position it to be on the top right. R, U, R prime, U prime, that's 1. R, U, R prime, U prime, that's 2. R, U, R prime, U prime, that's 3, and it's solved. Then we just have one more piece. Okay, the next step is the middle layer. So for this step, we're going to look for any edge pieces that don't have yellow on them. So this is an edge piece that does not have yellow on it. What we're going to do is ignore the color on the U face and focus on the color that's on the front face. It's orange. Now I want you to horizontally rotate your cube to set orange as your front face. Then use U moves to connect that edge piece with the orange. Now you have 2 options. Either this edge piece belongs here to the left or it belongs here to the right. Now how do you know where it belongs? Well, this edge piece has orange and green on it. If you were to trace these 2 center pieces, you would see that this whole face should be green and this whole face should be orange. So this should be green and this should be orange. So this piece belongs here. It does not belong here because this piece, well, this piece is actually in the spot, but it's flipped wrong. We'll deal with that later. So once you've figured out which direction it needs to go, there's 2 algorithms you can follow. If it needs to go to the left, you're gonna go U prime, L prime, U, L to connect this pair. Then we're going to insert here with U, F, U prime, F prime. Now we're going to repeat the process. Look at the top layer. Let's see, we got this piece doesn't have yellow on it. We're going to ignore the piece that's on the top. So green, rotate. So green's the front face. Use U moves to connect them. Doesn't need to go left or right. It needs to go left, so we're going to do the same algorithm. U prime, L prime, U, L, U, F, U prime, F prime. Now we're going to keep searching the top. We got one more piece over here, and it needs to go to the right this time. So now we do this algorithm. U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, F prime, U, F. And then if you have a piece like this, this is the worst case scenario and it sucks. But what you're going to have to do is either switch this edge piece to go into here, which will kick this out to the top layer, or switch this edge piece into here, or kicking it out into the top layer. So depending on which algorithm you prefer more, since we did 2 lefts, let's do another right. So we're going to pretend this piece needs to go into here just to kick this piece out. So we're going to use the algorithm where if this piece needs to go to the right, we're going to go U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, F prime, U, F. Now we have kicked the edge piece to the top layer. Ignoring the one on the top, we got orange. So rotate to orange, use U moves, connect it, needs to go to the right. Okay, after that, the next step is to form a yellow cross on the top. Now there are 4 possibilities. You can have a dot, which means none of these edges have the yellow on the up face. You can have the L, you can have the line, or you can just have the cross and skip this step. If you have the dot, from any angle, do F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime, and then you will now have 2 pieces that are adjacent to each other. when you have this situation, you're going to want to position it so on the U face, these two are on the north and west sticker position on the U face. Then you're going to do this algorithm again, F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime, and then you're going to get a horizontal line. Now, if you already got the line but it was vertical, just make it horizontal first and then do the algorithm one more time to get the cross. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Once we have the cross, the next step is to connect as many of these cross edge pieces to the center colors as we can. So right here we see orange is the only one connected and nothing else is. So do a U move and check all the edges again, nothing. Check again, nothing. One more time. Here we go, we got 2. So what you want to do is keep doing that until you find at least 2 of these cross edge pieces that are connected to the center. If they're connected like this, where it's adjacently connected right next to each other, you want to position it so those 2 that are permuted correctly are on the north and east sticker position of the U face. And then you're going to do this algorithm, R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime, U. And then that solves and permutes the cross. The other situation that could have been possible is if you could only connect 2 that are across from each other at a time, no matter what you do. And if only 2 are across from each other, you have to position it so the 2 that are connected across are connected and also vertical. So north and south stickers on the up face. Then you're going to do this algorithm, R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And then now you'll see you've created the adjacent case, and then you rotate so that it's in the north and east and do the thing I just showed you. Okay, after you've permuted your cross, the next step is to rotate the cube until you find a corner piece that is permuted, meaning it matches all the center stickers that it's connected to. However, in this case, we don't have any, so we could hold the cube from any angle and do this algorithm. U, R, U prime, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And now, at least one corner will be permuted. It doesn't necessarily have to be oriented correctly, like the stickers are all perfect. As long as it's permuted, then you hold it so it's in the top right of your front face and bottom right of your up face, and you're going to do the algorithm up to 2 more times max. This algorithm preserves the placement of this corner and does a counterclockwise cycle of these 3 corners. You'll have to do this algorithm a total of 3 times if you started with no permuted corners, and you'll have to do it up to a maximum of 2 times if you did have a permuted corner to start with. So we're going to do it again, holding this permuted corner in the top right of the front face. We're going to go U, R, U prime, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And then when you do have all of your corners permuted correctly, we're going to flip the cube upside down and we're going to rotate until we can see one of the unsolved corners in the bottom right of your front face. Once you find one, keep the top face color and the front face color locked in. Then we're going to do the algorithm we learned earlier up to 5 times until this sticker is down here and it's solved. And then we're going to solve the next corner. So first we're going to solve this one. So R, U, R prime, U prime, that's 1. R, U, R prime, U prime, that's 2. And now we have this solved. Now, we cannot change these 2 colors, but we do need to move this piece over here. So we could do that by doing D prime, or you can do it like that, or you can hold it and do it like that, D prime. And then we're going to do the algorithm again up to 5 times total until this is solved. R, U, R prime, U prime, that's 1, 2, 3. And it's always important to do that last U move, because if you don't, it's going to screw up everything and you have to start all over. Then the last move is obvious, and you solved your first cube. Now let me show you what happens if you don't do that last U move. So for example, you're going through and you notice at this point it's solved, and then you, without doing that last U move to make this block go back to normal, you decide to bring another unsolved piece instead and continue doing the algorithm. You'll notice that the cube is all messed up and you're gonna have to start over from scratch or change your color scheme and make this the new bottom color. And then you're gonna have to solve this edge piece. Then you have to do the cross all over again. Then you're gonna have to permute the cross. And then you're gonna have to permute the corners. And then now you're gonna have to do the step again. So you really wanna make sure you do that last U prime. Even if this connects, make sure you do that last U prime, okay? And then D, do another one. Make sure you do that last U prime, even though it looks solved, doesn't matter, you have to do that last U prime. Remember, do the last one, connect this always. And then there you go, solved. Now I want to show you guys an example of how fast you could solve a cube using this technique. And let's go. So first rotate so yellow's on top. We see this piece, let's put it there. This one goes here, do that. No more on the top. We got one in the middle layer, red. And then this one goes here. The cross is done. This piece goes here. This piece goes here. This piece goes here. And this piece goes here. Now we're doing the middle layer. Connected, needs to go left. Now we're gonna do the cross. Now we're going to permute the cross. Okay, here it is. These two are wrong. Okay, that's all. Now we're gonna look for anything that's, nope, none of them. So we just start from any point. Now this one's right. Okay, now we're gonna turn it upside down. Okay, so 1 minute and 17.449 seconds. Just an example of how fast you could solve it with this method. Now I'm gonna do some shortcuts that I haven't taught in this tutorial, but if you're interested in learning those shortcuts, I could make another tutorial video about that. But let's see. So blue is there. Let's see, red goes here, orange here. That's solved. Let's see. There. Okay, so 45.635 seconds, doing basically the beginner method, but with a few little shortcuts to save time here and there. And then just for funsies, let's do an advanced solve with a CFOT method, which is cross, first two layers, orienting last layer, and then permuting last layer. Okay, so the first thing you do is inspect the cube and you try to build a white cross as fast as you can, but you plan it out first. Okay, so let's go center. Okay, whatever. Okay, 19.129 seconds, which is pretty typical for me. I'm about 19-second average solver. My personal best is 11.961. It was a very lucky shuffle. This is CubeTrainerSteve. Thank you for watching. Yeah, that's it. Okay, bye guys.